In this video, we're going to look at how to integrate your automation platform with other platforms via Zapier. So there are a lot of different ways you can do this. This example is going to show how to pull the data out of your platform through Zapier into a Google Sheet. Okay, so it could go to different places other than a Google Sheet, but this is the example we're using for this. So what we're going to cover is creating a Zapier account, creating a Google Sheet, and then integrating your automation platform to that Google Sheet via Zapier. So let's dive in and get started. So the first thing you'll need to do is have a Google account for this particular process to work. So if you have that already, then you can skip this first step. But if you don't, we'll quickly go through this. We're going to just go to gmail.com and we'll end up at an option to create a new account. So we'll quickly do that now. Okay, once you're in, we don't need to do too much here at all. And again, if you've already got your own account, you'll be familiar with Gmail. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump in to open up our Zapier account. We go to zapier.com and we're going to create a new account here in Zapier. Okay, and if you're already signed in as your Gmail, you should just be able to continue with that account. Otherwise, you can sign up with a different email if you choose. You can skip through the onboarding questions, that's fine. Okay, and now we have what we need to get started with Zapier. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a Google Drive. So that's part of your Gmail account, is that you can actually go into the top here in the Google Apps, click this icon here and click on Drive. And this will bring you to your Drive account here. Okay, we're not going to go into detail about how to use Google Drive. Suffice to say, we're simply going to create a new Google Sheet, and it's going to be lead information. Oops, hit plus new, Google Sheet, and we'll just call this lead information tracking sheet. Okay, and for the purpose of this, we're going to have first name, last name, email, phone number. And we could add more fields, whatever you need, but we're going to keep this nice and simple here. First name, last name, email, phone number. Actually, I've added one more field here just to give you an example of how to put in like an extra custom field so that you have more flexibility in how this works. So now we're going to jump back to Zapier and we're going to create our app. So we simply hit the Make a Zap button up here in the top left, and we're going to get started with what's called a webhook. So we just type in webhook, and then we choose a trigger event, which is going to be to catch a hook. Right, so basically what this means is that we create a webhook, and I'm going to walk you through how to do this right now. And what we're saying is this is going to be caught by Zapier and then do what we need it to do, which is going to put things into our Google Sheet. So let's go through this step by step. So the first thing is that it's going to give us this webhook URL here. So all we need to do is copy that by clicking the copy button and then go back to our automation platform here. And we're going to create a trigger of when we want this webhook to fire, right? So for example, we're going to create a new basic rule here, and we're going to say that this is our test Zapier trigger. And we're going to say that this is going to occur when someone fills out a form, and it's going to be a form here. This is our Plateau Facebook ad. This is from our tutorial in our funnel builder and our form builder. So we're just using that. This would be whatever form you would want to use, or it might be triggered by something different. So it might be, for example, when a lead does a certain thing, maybe you just want to move people over to this next platform when they book an actual appointment, in which case you would be using appointment, and then you would choose the relevant calendar and change it to appointment status is confirmed. And then you would add the action. So for this demo, we're going to go with form submitted. And we're going to say the form is this Plateau Facebook ad here. And we're going to say add action. And right down the bottom here, we will see or near the bottom, execute webhook. And all you do is paste in that webhook exactly as you got it from Zapier, change that trigger to active, and hit save. Okay, so let's go back into Zapier here. We don't need to do any of these custom options just here. We just want to catch everything. So just hit continue. Okay, now it's going to give us an opportunity to test the webhook. So what we do is we make sure that we're ready to test it. And in our case, we want to submit this form. So I'm going to go into my funnel builder here and quickly find the page where I put that form. In my case here, it's this demonstration here. I'm going to preview the actual page here. And I know all I have to do is come back here, click this button, and submit this form. Okay, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say test and review. Test and review will allow you to actually see the data that's come in. So always use this option here. Now it's waiting to receive that information. So now I go back to the page and you can see I've actually put some information in before, but you would put in whatever your information is again. And important to note, this last field is what are you looking for? And we'll just say this is what I'm looking for, right? And you'll see why I've put this in. Otherwise, everything here is name, email, phone number, nothing too fancy. And I'm going to submit that form. In this case, all it's done is shown me a thank you message. More than likely, if you are using a funnel, it would take them to the next page. But for the purpose of our test here, we can come in here and we'll find it has actually pulled in some data. And you'll see here's the information. What are you looking for? This is what I'm looking for. First name, last name, email, and phone number. Everything is there. And any other data that I might have chosen has come in. Okay, so we've got our data. That's fine. We're going to click Done Editing. And now we're in Do This. So we've got the information into Zapier. Now we're going to edit what we want it to do. And we're going to select Google Sheets. So if you haven't already signed into your Google account, it may prompt you to do that at this point. Just follow the process, allow it and authorize it to interact with Zapier, and then you'll be able to see what events you need to add. So we're going to say create a spreadsheet row and then continue. So you can see I am already connected with my tutorial demo account. Okay, then if you have multiple drives, you'll need to select the drive. I don't, so I can just select my Google Drive here. The spreadsheet, here's the spreadsheet that we created, a lead information tracking sheet. And then the worksheet is just sheet 1 by default, but if you had multiple sheets, you want to make sure you select the correct one. Okay, and here, now what it'll ask us to do is to populate what we want in each level. So these areas here, first name, last name, email, phone number, what are you looking for? This is exactly what these columns are that we set up beforehand. So all we do is we match up under catch hook, first name, last name, and email. Now when we get to these two fields, phone number and what are you looking for, we need to press one more button, which is to show all options. And now this shows all the different options of what was collected for that lead. Okay, and what are you looking for here? Again, same process. What are you looking for? This is what I'm looking for, right? Okay, and we hit continue. Okay, so that's what it's going to do. If we look at our sheet right now, you'll see this is all blank underneath this. And now if I hit test and review, you'll see it has been sent to Google Sheet. We can come back in our Google Sheet and there you go. Magically, all the information is there. So once you've done that, hit done editing. And now we can turn our Zap on. Okay, so the one thing we didn't do, which is a common thing for Get, it's important to do though, especially once you start creating multiple Zaps, is to name the Zap. You can see this here says name your Zap. So I'm going to click on it and edit the name of it. So this is my testing a form to Google Sheet Zap. Okay, and then I can go out of that. Okay, now I can see what it's called. You can also add folders, which is another great way to organize your different zaps. Okay, so now that's done, I do recommend doing one more test, which is to go back into your platform there and resubmit the form with different information. So we'll do this here and we'll preview the form again. And this time we'll call it second test and resubmit our form. And now, depending on what you've got set within your Zapier account, it may take up to 15 minutes for that Zap to fire. But what you can do is you can come in here and the drop down on that Zap and go to task history, and then you'll see what tasks have run and when. And you'll see here this did actually execute a couple of minutes ago when I just did this. So I can go into my lead information here and I'll see that here it is, my second test has come through. So I know that the Zap is working. And that is a basic overview of how you can integrate your platform with other platforms via Zapier using the webhooks function. And so you can, of course, now in this example, you could create a new Zap from a Google Sheet that when this row is added, it might then trigger to go to a different application or do whatever it is that you want to do with that data from there.